97% for accounting, an 89%, and 94%. I got a 91%, and 88% for 91%.
Welcome to my outlet, bestie.
Hi guys, I am Imi Nkosiyane. I'm a second year medical student at WSU and I am a life sciences tutor. And as you can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be giving you guys tips on how to ace your first term in high school. So let's start with the credentials. This is my report from grade 12, which I did in 2024. I just want to hide my, what's this called, my date of birth, but this is my report. This is my report card. If you can't see well, I got a 97% for accounting. I got an 89% for English first additional language. I got a 94% for isiXhosa home language. I got a 91% for life orientation. I got a 91% for life sciences. I got an 88% for mathematics, and I got a 75% for physical sciences. So basically I had 6 distinctions and 1 level 6, and then my overall average was 89.29, as you can see from there. So basically in this video, it's not going to be a scripted video. It's not going to be a scripted video, so I'm not going to talk fast or do many edits on this video. I'm just going to be talking to you guys as if we're having a conversation, and I'm going to be telling you guys how I did it. So let me first sip some water. So basically, if you know term 1, you know that that's your term, or that's the capital to your year. That's how you're going to start your academic year. You need to make sure that you aim really high for term 1, because term 1 and term 3 are the best terms according to me. They are the easiest, so it's easier for you to get to your goals. If you want to get the 90s, it's easier for you to get the 90s in term 1 and in term 2. So as you can see from my results, everything was above 90. The only thing that was below 90 was an 88 for mathematics and a 75 for physical sciences. So that's just proof of how easy it is to get to the 90s in term 1 and also in term 3. Right, term 3 for lower grades than grade 12. Well, because in grade 12 you try out for term 3, so it's like writing your final exams. But anyways, so what I did in term 1 that made me get these results was 1, discipline. You can have all the motivation in the world, and I'm a person who was constantly motivated because I was watching a lot of YouTube videos of medical students, law students, engineering students, which were all disciplines that I was interested in, but I ended up in medicine rather. So when I would watch their vlogs, I would feel inspired and it would actually motivate me to study. But what really sealed the deal was discipline. You have to be disciplined. You have to treat first term as if it's your final term. You can't not study in first term or at the beginning of the year and then expect to get great results at the end of the year. It needs to start with term 1. You need to get the best results in term 1, because that's your chance, right? So discipline in the sense that I had a study routine. I didn't have a study timetable, I had a routine, and I've emphasized this in numerous videos of mine, how I prefer a study routine over a study timetable, because for me it was genuinely hard to follow a study timetable for numerous reasons. One, I was a big procrastinator in high school, so it was really hard for me to follow a study timetable. But 2, I had so many commitments, especially in grade 12. I was the head boy of the school, or the president of the RCL of the school, however you want to call it. I was the deputy president of our debating society. I was the leader of a book club. So I had so much stuff going on for me, such that things would pop up when I need to go and study to follow my study timetable. So I rather had a study routine. So I knew that I should have a to-do list for things I want to do that day and not set them to a specific time. But my goal was to ensure that I tick off all of those things from my study routine. For example, I'll tell myself that, okay, after school ends, I need to remain in school because I lived closer to school and I was walking back and forth to my place and to school. I wasn't living with my parents, I was living with my sister. So I knew that one, if I really want to get stuff done, I need to remain at school when school is out, right? I remained in school. I did my homeworks because, yeah, I just had to do my homeworks there and then so that I don't forget them. And homeworks are really, really helpful because that's when your teacher actually sees that you understand that content that you covered that day. After doing my homeworks, I would have past papers. Specifically for mathematics, I hated maths. Hated maths. Does it make sense how I got an 88% for maths and a 75% for physical sciences? Because I really loved physical sciences over maths. I hated maths. But I would do past papers for maths every single day. After I'm done with doing my homeworks, I'll do those past papers for maths just to practice the specific topic that we were covering that week at school or that specific day, because as I said, I hated that subject, so I didn't really have the motivation to study it. What helped me was discipline, just to be disciplined and tell myself that I'm going to practice maths, right? So after doing maths past papers, that's when I would do more of what I perceived as the fun subjects, right? I would do accounting, just do a paper of accounting for the specific section that we covered in class in the past week. And if I already did those, I would, work ahead and do stuff that we're going to cover the following week. I'd do accounting, I'd do life sciences. So those were what I considered to be my fun subjects, right? And um, another thing that I usually emphasize in my videos is to not neglect languages and LO. I did neglect LO a bit, but when it came to languages, I made sure that I don't. And the reason why I'm saying this is because most A students nowadays prioritize science over languages when it comes to their studying, and it shows in their final results because they usually have distinctions for each and every other subject besides English and isiXhosa or their languages that they are taking, right? So I made sure that I wasn't part of those students. I would put time for isiXhosa language. I would put time for English, first additional language. Hence, I have a 90 something in isiXhosa, and I maintained that. I maintained those 90s throughout the year. I would get 97, I would get 95 for languages, right? So after doing all of that, I would then start walking home. On my way home, I would find the time to socialize with people on my phone. I'd be on my phone, which was risky, but I'd be on my phone on Instagram because I really, really loved to scroll on Instagram. I'd be on Instagram and then I would probably download a video that I'm going to watch when I get home, which was probably a vlog. And then when I get home, we had responsibilities. My sister and I divided responsibilities. So usually when I stayed at school, I would then, when I get home, I would then cook. So I would cook dinner and then rest a bit. After that, I'd get back into studying, right? Another thing that I implemented, I think I implemented this during the year though, was what Andy Swabia, who is now Dr. Andy, what she did back in high school, which was to sleep after getting back from school and then wake up at 12 midnight to study up until the morning. So I would also implement that. And it was very, very, very productive because my mind was refreshed and I just covered a lot of content. When people are sleeping and no one is texting you, it's just you and your books. I did the absolute most. I really, really loved that study tip from her. It really, really worked for me. You may try it as well. So I followed that specific routine all the time and I made sure to never compromise. I made sure to never compromise during breaks. If I knew that for that specific day at school I'm going to have back-to-back meetings after school for the extracurriculars that I was talking about, I'd make sure that during the break I sacrifice roaming around at school with my friends to actually study some content, to actually study material, right? So that's part of the things that form discipline as a person or as a student who wants to get those specific results that I got or even higher, right? What else? Let me drink my water and think what else I did. Oh, I can't believe I almost left this out. I had extra classes, guys. I had extra classes. Extra classes, Zanditwala extra classes. Extra classes really, really helped me out, especially for accounting. I wasn't struggling with accounting, but I know that I got the results that I was getting for accounting, specifically because I had extra classes. The person that was tutoring me accounting, exceptional, guys. When I say exceptional, I mean exceptional. The highest I got for accounting was a 98%, and I would maintain 90s all throughout. As you can see from term one, I got, no, I'm mistaken, I'm sorry. The highest I got was a 97%. I'm thinking of my friend who was a friend of mine who we would be in competition for accounting, and she got a 98. I got a 97. Yes, it's a 97. I got it in term one. That was my highest. But even in finals, I did really, really well for accounting. But what I'm trying to emphasize is that extra classes, they really, really helped me, especially for accounting and for subjects like mathematics and physical sciences, because as I said, I was the biggest procrastinator. I had a lot of commitments, so I would find the chance to study when I attended my extra classes. And of course, it would be productive because there's a teacher there who's correcting me and all of that stuff, right? So if you have access to extra classes, if your parents can afford extra classes, make sure you take extra classes. People have this notion or belief that people who go to extra classes are people who struggle with certain subjects. That's not true. You can go to extra classes just to solidify the knowledge that you already have, so that you can make sure to get, your 90s and your 80s. For example, there was a guy in my school who matriculated in 2023. His surname was Chichiliza. He was part of the people who went to the provincial awards. Chichiliza was always good. He always performed well in school. He was always a top student, but he had extra classes. He was always a top student, but he had extra classes. So that's to show that extra classes are not for people who struggle with certain subjects, but they are for people who want to get to a certain mark in those specific subjects, such as the 90s, so that you can qualify to go to what? The provincial or the national awards. So those are the things that really, really helped me. Extra classes, chef's kiss, those things. Great. Now, one last thing that I also want to add that really helped me achieve this average in term one was I was never afraid to ask a question. Trust that I was never afraid to ask a question. And if I felt as if my question is going to take a while to explain, I would wait up until the teacher is done teaching. I'd follow the teacher to his office and I'd ask that question. I did that a lot for physical sciences, which helped me in the second term of grade 12 to get from this 75 to an 80 something in term 2, right? That really, really, really helped me to ask questions. I would ask questions a lot. And another thing that helped me was what we call the Feynman technique. But specifically for me, I wasn't really doing it to other people per se, but as in like other individuals when we are out on break or when we're at home. No, my teachers would actually assign me to teach a certain topic. For example, my physical sciences teacher, he knew that I really loved vertical projectile motion, this topic called vertical projectile motion in grade 12, and he'd allow me to teach it in class, and that helped me to solidify my knowledge of it. And even I would get some things wrong on the board and he'd correct me, or my classmates would correct me, which helped to solidify that knowledge more in my mind, right? So those are the things that I really did to get that average and to get those results, and I believe that it's part of the things that pushed me and actually allowed me to get into medical school. I hope this really, really helps, and do check out my other videos on study tips if you need some. I have videos on how I got a 90 in life sciences, so those are specific videos or videos specific to each subject to let you know how to, or to advise you on how to get a certain mark on those specific subjects. I have videos on how to get a distinction in physics, how to get a distinction in life sciences, how to get an overall average of above 80, and do make sure to check those videos out. Please do make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Go check out my TikTok. I'm trying to be more active there, and do follow me on my socials On Instagram, I'm at Imi Nkosiyane. In fact, I'm at Imi Nkosiyane everywhere on TikTok and on Instagram. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.